Are we live? I can't see. There we are. Yes, we are. Oh. Well, I tell you what, I've been ill. I've been ill at some point in my life, but oof. Never this ill. Oh my, this is going to raise an interesting question how we get through here. Oh, Catherine OG, good morning to you. Sorry, I'm just crunching on a lemsip. Hopefully keep me coughing. Well, hopefully not keep me coughing. We've already got... We've already got ponies. I know. No, you're stiffing my hand. I haven't got anything for you. You probably smell my hand sanitizer. I know. Anyway, come on, let me through. Come on. There we go. That's it. Right. Oh, this might be interesting. Let's try and get through. Oh. Not only are we having ponies this morning, we're having, like, problems with ponies in the way. It's like this never happened. It's like it... 27 Bike Brothers, good morning to you. I think we might be able to just... There we go. Slip through there. Right. Whew. So, good morning, everyone. Oh. Don't know if you can see him. Bit of a pony having a bit of a stretch there. Oh. But yes, good morning to you, one and all. As always, welcome to what is an actually fairly sunny day here in Yorkshire. We've been actually having some quite good weather, surprisingly, recently as of late. In fact, I probably could have got away with wearing my my walking boots and not my wellies. Or my wellies just as a precaution, but never mind. It's quite actually dry for once. Well, it might not be, but oh well. Oh, but yes. Welcome to the Good Morning Walk. Oh, like I say, it's a wonderful day today, so we're getting, I don't know, can you see me if I go? No, you probably can't if I do that. I've got to remember where the sun is. Oh, there's some more ponies in the background for you. So, it's been an interesting week for me. As you know, I tested positive for COVID. Looks like I caught it from when I was up in Cumbria for the wedding I was at last week. Had fun, had very good time, by the way. But yeah, unfortunately, we've all come down with it. Pardon me. There we go. That's cough one. Keep a count. So yeah, it's just been so ill. It's like I still feel ill, but not as bad as I was like Tuesday, Wednesday. Like Tuesday and Wednesday, I just lost all motivation to do stuff. Like I had, you know, when you get a really bad sore throat and it just like wipes you out and you just feel awful and terrible. I've just had that, but I haven't had any headaches or anything like that. But like I say, I tested positive, so it's definitely COVID. And yeah, just felt absolutely awful. You know, I tried see if I could do a video, but I couldn't make my way through it without, you know, practically coughing up a lung doing it. But you know, I've been knocking back the Lemsip. That's helped at least keep it under control. And I've probably gone through at least several bags of like cherry menthols to at least keep it more under control. Where's your face mask? Don't really need it out here, to be honest. You don't need it when you're out here in like the middle of nowhere. But I do have it in my pockets for at least when we go back. But like I say, we're going to be giving people a very, very wide berth today, should we see them. But like I say, we've got room to move. We've got room to move. Yeah, we've got good ventilation out here on the fields, you know. But yeah, on the other side of this, unfortunately, you know, my stepdad had a heart attack. Well, not a major heart attack. He managed to get to the hospital, which is a story in itself. But yeah, he's now in Sheffield, having to have a bypass. So I've also had to deal with that this week as well, being unable to help, you know, sort stuff out for my mum, which has made me feel really guilty, because obviously, you know, I don't want to give her COVID and potentially pass it on to my, you know, stepdad. That might, you know, because he now is in technically a very vulnerable group for getting COVID. So I felt very guilty not being able to do a lot of stuff this week, purely just around that as well. So it's been like, oh. So yeah, absolutely sucked this week. Good morning, may Boris stay away from us. Good morning. Quite the week for you and ponies. Indeed. Oh, indeed it has been. Like I say, we've had a couple of pony encounters this weekend. Oh, good morning all. Good morning to you as well. Oh, I always hate this when we're walking. When the sun's like this, I can't see the screen. I've got to go like this to see. But yeah, yeah, wow. Talk about, you know, Billy No Mates. An expression we have here in Yorkshire, of when you see someone with, you know, walking around with no friends. And yeah, time to get a wide brim hat probably. Yeah, it's so weird when you saw him acting like that, and he was just like, especially when he's like trying to get attention from Biden, like he's walking like, you know, Biden would go up to someone, so he'd like sort of stalk and almost sit in the shadows in like Biden's periphery vision, or like on purpose try and like corner him, like so that Biden would have to walk past and like acknowledge him. And you're like, what on earth? What on earth is going on here? Because this, and you know, I've said this before on a number of occasions, a lot of the conservatives, even like the free market fundamentalists, really love to boast on about the fact of, like, you know, Britain's a really, you know, quote unquote powerful, you know, soft power country. And yet I think Boris has well and truly dismissed that illusion. Yeah, good morning. Who needs friends when you have Brexiteer scrutineers? Yeah, it's very true indeed. And of course, these all come back from, pardon me, from Boris's comments, all about Ukraine, which, well, you can't really compare what's going on in Ukraine with Brexit, which ultimately, as we said, got him kicked out of that meeting. And I think probably quite rightly so, because remember, there was 3 big meetings at the weekend all about Ukraine. And Biden was invited to all 3 of them, by the way. 2 of them were NATO. So I think one was the, I can't remember what they call it now. One was like the founding members council, and then you had like the greater NATO council, and Boris was at those 2. And then you had like the EU council about what the EU response was going to be. And Biden was, of course, invited to that. And of course, Boris got uninvited from that when he made those, quite frankly, ridiculous and stupid comments. And you're like, so there goes, Britain's soft power. And you really have to wonder, especially in like conservative circles, what they're talking about this, how they're reacting to this. So I think when I get home, I'm going to have a nosy on Conservative Home to see what they've said. If there's anyone released an article about that, see what they might think about that. And we'll go over that probably next week at some point. But, oh my. It's one of those things now where, to quote Hamilton, we're no longer in the room where it happens. We don't have the power to do that anymore. And that should be shocking, to be honest. A lot of conservatives, I think, into action. Because they do not like, shall we say, being left out of international, as we said just a bit before. They absolutely love having, the UK play on a, an international stage, international field. That's what they love doing. This is why they always love, whenever they get the chance, to bring up the Commonwealth. It's not really a, shall we say, a big political influence or a big political institution, really. But they love to bring it up whenever they get the chance. Hence why I suspect you may be seeing it get mentioned very soon, because I think it's a Commonwealth Games coming up soon, I think. So probably expect that to be mentioned quite a bit in the coming days about, we need to re-engage with the Commonwealth again. And you're like, this all goes back to, once again, Empire 2.0. Heaven save us from Empire 2.0 again. Oh, you think it was NATO, G7, EU? It might have been a G7 meeting. I can't remember now. But I know one was definitely the EU meeting. And like I say, Biden was invited to all 3. And of course, Billy No Mates Boris bumbling around, being an absolute embarrassment. Like I say, Partygate can't come crashing back into the news again soon enough. And trust me, oh, it will. It will. And then we'll have fun and games about who's going to be taking on the taking on the mantle, of course, of leader of the Conservative Party again, which is going to be fun. Because I've said before, there's probably going to be a civil war, a Tory civil war, probably the likes of which we haven't seen before in this country. Loki's children, hope you're well. Yes, I'm doing all right. Like I say, I'm doing all right. Better than I was like on Tuesday or Wednesday. Those were like the worst days. Tuesday, that's when I knew I had it, and I like had to sort of resign myself to the fact that I probably had it. So I booked a test for the next day, and that's when I was feeling really, really bad, and that's when the test came back positive from like the PCR test. So, but other than that, like I say, it's just been sore throat. But I've got another family member. They're older than me, and they've been absolutely. They haven't had to go to hospital, but they've been absolutely taking a tacking from it. They've been almost bedridden, I think, from by the sounds of it, almost all this week. And like I say, I didn't pass it on to them. I haven't seen them for at least 3 weeks, so I know I definitely haven't given it to them. But yeah, it's been so odd, and especially like after all this time as well. Like I made the feeling that I was like this close to not catching it. I was like, come on, I'm this close. So, yeah, as always, it's been a weird thing. Always been a weird thing. But in fact, I remember last year, in fact, just before like the restrictions got lifted again, we could sort of go out again. Went out with a group of friends, and out of 6 of us, one of us caught it. Only one of us out of 6 of us actually caught it. And it's like, how did we manage to survive that? How did we manage to dodge that? But so much for all those triple jabs. Look, you can still catch it even if you've had those jabs. What it enables you to do is it enables your body to fight back better. It's the whole reason you have those jabs. So if I hadn't had those jabs, I may have been even worse from it. I may have had to go to the hospital about it. You should always get your jabs. We are, a pro-jab channel. And like I say, in terms of like COVID numbers up here, my God, the numbers up here in the north are going crazy, absolutely crazy. And I'm really worried. I'm really worried, of course, that this could be I'm really worried, of course, that maybe this could be a prelude to a new variant. We don't know because, again, the government stopped testing. Well, actually, no, they haven't yet, but they are going to in a couple of weeks' time, which makes it so sad. No, it's actually the opposite. The fact that we've stopped all these lockdowns, mask wearing, you know, isolation stuff, that's only proved that it's worked. Oh, thank you very much, Mitch. Good morning to you as well. But yeah, you know, all those lockdowns and masks proved that it worked, that those measures worked. You know, you take it away, and literally 2 weeks later, the line was going down, and now it's just like that because there's no restrictions, there's no nothing, you know, keeping people safe, and essentially trying to, you know, slow it down. You can't lock down forever. We weren't locked down forever. This is the thing. All these lockdowns were doing were essentially preventing the spread further. And look, we've survived through it. We've managed to get through it. If we hadn't locked down, you would have seen far more deaths. You know, you've got the situation at my local hospital and others in the region where they are on lockdown. You can't come and visit. You know, the COVID wards are full. You know, so we're starting to see some real panic up here in the north, where there's no restrictions now. That's going to cause a huge panic, because I think you're going to see, unfortunately, probably a lot of deaths in the next couple of weeks. But then again, that's something again you can just hammer the Conservatives with and just go, yeah, you essentially pulled all these restrictions for no other reason than the free market libertarians in your party just want to force people back into the office because they're essentially losing money. Yeah, it is. It's to protect it from being overrun, or people coming to see you know, relatives or whatnot who may have COVID, etc., and pass it on to other people. Ooh. But yeah, it's been insanely nice weather this week, and I can't believe if the weather forecasts are true. If the weather forecasts are true, apparently it's going to snow next week. So that's going to be interesting if it snowed next week. You know, you've literally got this absolutely, you know, cracking good weather, and then next week it just could be just, look at all the snow around me next week. Look at it all. Yep. Oh. And of course, bizarre news for welcome to the climate inevitability. Very true. In fact, there's another really cool article we're going to go through next week, actually, from the Dorset Echo, talking about PR. Now, normally when we've talked about PR in the past, we've talked about it being like a national level. This is kind of interesting because it changes the conversation to bring PR into a local election level for, you know, local councils, etc., which is kind of interesting, because we never really talked about bringing PR to a local election level. So that could be quite interesting. You're now preparing to take, what, 100,000 Ukrainian refugees? Yeah. like I say, at least Denmark's doing the right thing. At least Denmark's doing the right thing. Oh, and I'm sure Priti Patel is in absolute panic mode. I'm pretty sure Priti Patel is in absolute panic mode about this, because they've spent really since 2016 saying, oh yeah, we're going to be really hard, really tough on all these refugees, and now when they've been using all this language, all this rhetoric, you know, against, like, especially Eastern Europeans, especially against Eastern Europeans, I want to point that out. You know, all the Brexit xenophobia, all this stuff. And then, out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, the public now turns around and goes, oh no, we want to help these people, we want to help these refugees. And now the government's like, but my rhetoric, you know? And to be honest, it really is shameful. It really is. It's one of those moments where it's just like, you know, I'm really disappointed in our government, but the fact that they go and do this just makes it even worse. It really does. Just makes it even goddamn worse. So, yeah, you've even noticed that they're being called migrants on the telly. Yes. So yeah, it's Boris and Patel, through all this rhetoric, are in a bit of trouble, because if they, should we say, lighten the rules or regulations, it also means they've got to accept refugees from elsewhere as well, with the same part on, you know, from humanity on this. So, you know, they're in absolute confusion because they've been saying the exact opposite for, what, since 2016 at this point, and they're now going, but you said you didn't want, you know, refugees. We've done past all this stuff, so you don't want refugees. And in fact, it gets even worse, because this week we saw the passage of the Borders Bill now go back to the House of Lords, and in it is the provision to house refugees on an offshore location, to get them processed, which is once again the exact wrong thing to do, because Australia does this, and it costs Australia, and by all accounts it's going to cost us far more just to have this holding facility to process these, you know, to process the refugees, essentially on this island. I still don't know if they've picked a location for it yet. But also, worryingly, of course, is if you look into, like, the Australian migrant system, when you look at their camps, those camps are not very good. They do not get a very, shall we say, good ratings from a lot of humanitarian organisations. And like I say, it costs them far more money to do that than it would be just to put them through the system normally. So again, Conservatives wasting money. So that's been, shall we say, Patel being absolutely and quite rightly dragged all the way through the press this week. But of course, she's not the only one who's been dragged through the press this week, of course. Rishi Sunak has also taken a lot I say Rishi Sunak has also taken probably a lot of the flack after his mini budget. I mean, talk about a fall from grace. He went, and this will be the interesting thing to see if we get a opinion poll in the next couple of weeks from like Conservative Party members about what they think of potential members, because as I said before, Rishi Sunak was like almost one of the heir apparents to Boris. If Boris was going to go, it would have been between Liz and Rishi, and even then it would have been difficult to predict who would have won, because again, it's a leadership contest. You don't know what might happen. But if it did go down to Liz and Rishi, and obviously it's a member-led driven vote, Liz Truss is still like, oh, hang on. Oh, there we go. Turn this way. There we go. She's still, as far as I'm aware, one of the most popular members of the party. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen to his popularity, of course, given the fact that he was, inherited the nickname Dishy Rishi, of course, for his very massive amounts of help that he gave out. Well, he did give out help, but arguably, again, it was still not really enough help to a lot of people. And like I say, a lot of other European countries were far, far more effective in certainly giving out help to the people of their country than certainly we were. But hey, at least we got something, And to be honest, that something was at least better than nothing. Which what we were all probably expecting. Even I was expecting that the government weren't really going to go and step in to help people, because a Tory government stepping in to help people, my God. So it is absolutely no surprise, of course, that most of these initiatives, these tax things he's done to, quote, help people, well, they're not going to help people at all. So, as I've said before, it's going to get worse. I think this year it's going to be really, really bad. Really, really bad. Before this all happens. And you've already got the situation now. It was covered this week of food banks. People aren't taking things like potatoes, because if they did take potatoes, well, then they'd have to be able to afford the energy to afford to boil them. And when we're reaching a situation like that, where these food banks are coming back and saying, this is what's going on, then things are going to get really bad. Really, really bad. And it's difficult to say how bad they're going to get, but I really think you're going to see some serious social unrest. And because this has been timed again with sort of the war in Ukraine. As we've said before, it's the world's largest wheat producer essentially invading the world's fifth largest wheat producer. And this government, just a couple of weeks ago, has essentially tried to incentivize farmers not to grow food, but to become wardens, nature wardens. I wonder if we'll see a change in British farming policy anytime soon. I wonder if we're going to see a change in that. I don't think so, but we'll see. Yeah, food banks next will be Tory workhouses. You say that in jest, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, given this government and what they're doing. And it's been said this week very, very clearly that one of the things why, he's done this and not really helped people, because it could be such an easy win. It could be such an easy win for them to do some such very simple, policies, like putting a windfall tax on oil and gas companies, and then just saying that all that money is going to go to like pensioners or people who are on universal credit to help them pay for their fuel cost this year. Could be a very easy win for them for something for them like that to do. But of course, Rishi Sunak's not going to do that. One of the things we've always said about, especially Boris Johnson's government, indeed most of the, fanatical right-wing libertarians of the party, is that they are very ideologically driven. Again, according to them, it's their ideology should be what works, because they've been told that it works. Yeah, a temporary UBI scheme could be good as well. Again, there's so much Rishi Sunak could actually do to like get an easy win for like the Conservatives, and yet he hasn't. He hasn't at all, because he's so ideologically driven, like the rest of them are. And in their minds, what's going on isn't the fact that their ideas are wrong. It's the fact that something else is wrong that's stopping their, ideas coming to fruition. So they will never ever challenge their ideas on this, or dare to even question themselves. Oh, hang on, I've got a spider guest on my phone. There we go. But yeah, and that's essentially what they do. It's just, our ideas are not what's wrong. It's, people are either just too lazy to go out and work, or there's something other than that. Bakura. Saw in the Daily Mail today that Dominic Raab is working on replacing the Human Rights Act with a British Bill of Rights. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all, Bakura. Would not surprise me at all if that was the plan. We're not getting rid of the Human Rights Act. We're just renaming it to the British Bill of Human Rights. So, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Because you've already got the Home Office wanting powers to strip people of, their citizenship without notice. This all goes back to um, oh, what's her name now? Shamina Begum, I think that's how you say her name. Um, you know, the teenager who went to be a, who got, well, let's face it, she got groomed into going to be, an ISIS bride, realized the situation she got herself into, and then wanted to come back. And I think that we have probably, let her down on that, because there's so much we could have done to, actually help her out and prove, so many of these, religious fanatics that we do care about, our people. But the whole Shamima Begum thing was a massive PR win for terrorist organizations. It really was. It doesn't make us look good at all in any of this. But so, hang on. So I know some of you were late arrivals. Oh dear, did he? Oh dear. So to allow freedom of speech and stop wokery. Oh, that's, well, doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. That's basic culture war 101. Can you see him? There you go. You've got your ponies if you missed them this morning. But even I'm starting to feel warm from this. It's going to be a really warm day today. I can tell already. And I'm probably going to have to spend the rest of the day inside, just with my window open. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all, because, again, they're so ideologically driven that it's not their policies and ideas that they are putting forward that are wrong. It's other people that are wrong for their, terrible ideas. And it's like, well, yeah, it's so yeah, and you are right. Sorry, that Crowban. It is not as simple as sort of the government and a lot of people just make out. It's a really hard decision, but that right to, again, strip away someone's citizenship comes from all that. And it's going to leave so many people, I think, very, very, very much worrying, because we've got a lot of people in this country with dual citizenship. And you've only got to go back to, something like the Windrush scandal. A lot of those Windrush scandal people could have very easily, just by the Home Secretary, just had their British citizenship just stripped away and taken from them. Nope, there we go. So it really, really is so worrying that we've got this company in who's doing all this. It really, really is worrying about this. But yes, as always, we're coming to the end of our good morning walk. That pony's trying to get through. I got through. But yes, we'll leave you hopefully with these guys, those guys in the background sunning themselves. So, welcome, and I hope we've enjoyed. Welcome. I hope we've enjoyed hope you've enjoyed the Good Morning Walk this morning. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like and share button. And of course, down below there is the Patreon page, and of course the One-Off Nation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for coming along, watching today. Like I say, the chances are the weather is probably not going to be good this next weekend. Like I say, we are expecting snow. So the landscape could change very quickly. But as always, thank you very much for joining me on a Good Morning Walk. Like I say, as always, can't be safe, be sensible. Go out, enjoy your weekend, and of course, be safe. And yeah, just be safe in general, people. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for coming along and joining us this weekend. And of course, hopefully we'll see you next week as well. We will be coming back next Wednesday on the live stream, by the way, to cover that George Galloway video, because, oh my word, was that some, pardon me, was that some really, really bad takes from the guy that he was listening to. And remember, the guy he was listening to was a dating coach. Probably shouldn't be taking advice on Ukraine from someone who is a very toxic male relationship advice coach. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be taking advice from him on Ukraine about that, George. But anyway, that's for Wednesday. So hopefully we'll see you all then. And of course, not if we don't see you live then. We'll see you next Saturday for the next Good Morning Walk. And as always, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.